Hey folks, Jerry here with another little profound episode right here of these end times and the great tribulation period to come. And I got a special little announcement I'm going to make to you guys here at the end of this little broadcast. I got something planned that I'm going to do. Uh, I know that some of the things that I have said, folks, about the end times and the great tribulation and everything is very profound. But I said it from the heart. Now, I'm going to bring up something tonight that is something that's helping to usher this in. And many don't see just how profoundly important this is and just how bad, how widespread this problem is. Guys, you don't have any more shepherds. Hardly any at all. You just don't. I mean, what few shepherds you do have, they're really not that popular. Nobody really hears about them because they're not advertised. They're not put out there if they're speaking the truth in the Lord. These TV preachers, folks, there's none of them being totally truthful with you guys. These TBN preachers, if you take a look at the coat of arms of this Trinity Broadcasting Network, you'll see the white horse of the tribe of Dan and the aristocracy right in the coat of arms, guys. It's obvious who's behind it. It's these television stations, they're all owned by just a few corporations who are obviously Luciferian men. And so they're not going to let the truth on these big channels on TV, folks. And, you may say, Jerry, who is not being truthful and who is truthful on television? None of them's being totally truthful, folks. None of them are. Now, some of them are not being what you would say openly dishonest, but in a way they are being dishonest. Remember the other day when I told you about the state of Israel and about Revelation 2:9? Remember all that? I'm going to give you a good example of what I'm trying to say here. Let's take a look at Dr. Charles Stanley, which used to be a preacher that I listened to quite often. Now, you may look at Charles Stanley and say, Jerry, he preached a good sermon today. He talked about this or he talked about that, and I really got a good message out of it, and this and that. Well, folks, let me tell you what the deception is when it lies with someone like Dr. Charles Stanley. The deception is, it's really that he's not telling you any lies right out. But yet, as a representative of God, he is sort of telling you lies without telling you lies. And let me explain to you what I'm saying. If Dr. Stanley is in the know of some of these things that you guys need to be warned about, if he's in the know about some of the things that is really of harm and danger to you as the sheep out there, as a shepherd, he's supposed to be warning you about that stuff. And so when he says nothing, he's actually doing something. What he's doing is he's not being honest with you, but he's not coming right out and being dishonest, but yet he is being dishonest. Because he's not telling you the full truth. Now, let me give you an example of what I'm saying. Let's say, for instance, you're my next door neighbor and you go on vacation to the beach, okay? Let's use that as an example. Well, what if I notice and witness that there is somebody that's hiding behind your shrubs with a gun, and they're gonna take you down when you get to your house. The minute you pull in. Well, if I see that, even though I didn't say anything, I'm still being dishonest with you because I didn't say anything about the thief. I didn't say anything at all about the harm that was there. So, as a neighbor looking out for you by not saying nothing, I really did something. And that's where the great deception lies when it comes like somebody like Dr. Charles Stanley. He'll never tell you who the fake ones is in Revelation 2:9. He'll never tell you some of the things that you really need to be looking out for. He'll just tell you a nice, calm sermon that, has some good morals and principles in it, but it still took up your time for the weekend. You still took the time to listen to that message. And you never got any warnings, folks, or you never got any type of persecution of yourself right there that should have told you some of the things you really need to be looking out for in today's times. You never hear him ever talk about technology or the 5G system, or you never hear him talk about the fake ones in Revelation 2:9, or the fake government that we have, or the illuminated ones, or who's involved in some of the big world conspiracies that's really going to affect you. That kind of thing never comes up. And so by not saying nothing, he's conveying something, and it's not. It's misinformation because you didn't get any information. Now, I'll tell you the one that I really don't like, and I mean, he's really bad in these last days, folks, and he is so profoundly slick. He is so good at what he has to say that the average person can't hardly catch this man in a lie at all. It's just really hard to catch him up in some stuff. I've caught him up in a few things, but it would be hard to describe to normal people some of the stuff I've even caught him up in, and that's John Hagee. First of all, folks, let me tell you this. I already know something about, his name within itself encodes some bad stuff. The German Ashkenazis that I've told you about, well, his last name, Hagee, a double E in Greek is put to something that is there to the extreme, okay? EE is an extremity. It's profoundly, boldly telling you something. Well, when you mix that with a hag, as in Hag-E, it's not good, folks, because a hag is a German witch. That's what that is. So it's profound sermons being taught by a German witch, the Hag-E. It's not good, folks. John Charles Hagee. The toilet that burns the SHIT of the extreme German witch. It's basically what his name stands for in Alemannic German and ancient Greek. It's encoded in his name, folks. I mean, anybody that's going to sit and tell you, folks, that the Rothschilds and all these demonic so-called fake ones are the so-called jaywalkers who are not that, but say that they are, okay? And they end up with the state of Israel, and he's just sitting there telling you that this is God's people, and those people are about as demonic as they absolutely come, folks. And then he tells you to give money to their cause and stuff like that. And the man that was granted the state of Israel literally has the printers to print the money because he owns the Federal Reserve banknote. So they're telling you to give to the state of Israel. And the people that's been granted the state of Israel running it actually has the printers to the money to print all the money they want in Switzerland. It's criminal, folks, what's going on. The Ashkenazis. They're not the ones who suffered the Holocaust. They're the ones who caused it. Basically, folks, if you can understand this, what that was basically was one tribe putting the other 11 to death. But they're in Revelation 2:9. It'll tell you who they are. They're not really that, but they're still the tribe of Dan, the Ashkenazis, the Viking kings. That's who they were. But who is telling you the truth on TV? Who is guiding you in the right direction? None of them, folks. There is absolutely positively none of these people that's on TV that's really doing their job as a shepherd in these last days to you guys in full service to you. You have no shepherds, folks, and you know where sheep goes when they don't have no shepherd, do you? Yeah. To the good old SLAUGHTER house, folks. And that's where the Great Tribulation period is coming into, because as sheep, you're going there listening to these people. Something tells me, guys, they talk about, these Ashkenazis talk about here in these end times when the one world government comes about, how many thousands of slaves they're going to have apiece. For some odd reason, I can't help but think that some of these preachers are actually going to be the enslavers to the ones that they bewitched. I really think that John Hagee's people right there, they'll probably end up showing up for church one day when it becomes an overwhelming thing, and he'll put them in a chain gang set of cuffs and take them away. And how stupid are you going to feel for following that man if that happened? I mean, how stupid are you going to feel? The man sits there and shows you a flag that literally has the hexagram mark of the beast on it and tells you he's speaking of God's people. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, folks. That's what the Lord says. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Ashkenazi, bewitched by kinetic energy into a holocaust. That's what Ashkenazi jaywalker means. Sure is, folks. Kinetic energy is in TV and radio propaganda. That's part of it. Kinetic energy. That was a whole lot of what brought that about in World War II with Joseph Goebbels. Kinetic energy propaganda. Bewitched by kinetic energy into a holocaust. It's not good, guys. But that's what that means in ancient Greek. And they are the ones who caused it. They're not the ones who suffered through it. A bunch of Illuminatist bankers from Switzerland are God's people, according to John Hagee, okay? Who has sphinx in the front of their driveways, by the way, too. I tell you, man, I just don't know. It wouldn't pay for me to debate John Hagee for about 10 minutes in front of everybody. He would crack. I'd crack him in a hurry, folks. And I could do it too, but they would never give me the opportunity. Because what he's telling you is a line of bull. Now, I'm going to tell you what I see when I look at Joel Osteen and Victoria Osteen. And you guys may end up not agreeing with this. You're going to think it's far out there. I think both of them are trannies. I think that Victoria is really a man, and I think Joel is really a woman. I'm not kidding either, folks. I mean, they've got that appearance. I mean, Joel, he's got this set of shoulders that has a droop off to it right there, a slide on it. His shoulders aren't squared like a man's, like a woman, and his hands looks like a woman too. Which, by the way, if you notice, Victoria's a lot taller than he is too. Folks, but when you end up finding out what's going on here in the end and the Lord reveals all, you guys are going to be shocked, man. Just how much deception is going on. I see it every day. I don't like any of these preachers on TV, period. You may say, well, who do you listen to any at all, Jerry? Well, I've got two preachers that I do listen to some. One of them is obviously Chaplain Bob Walker, which I really respect what he has to say, and I think Chaplain Bob really does a good job at holding to God's Word. And I also like Brother Joseph Skinner at Honest News Network on YouTube. Now, Brother Joseph is a good teacher, And he's even tried to warn you about these Ashkenazis like Nancy Pelosi and what is her name there? Harry Reid. He's another one of them. And Dianne Feinstein. That's the one I was thinking of. Dianne Feinstein. But, guys, there's a big deception going on. There's no shepherds. And that's bringing about the Great Tribulation period. It really is. Because you're being really deceived. And there's nothing to stop the crowd from heading in that direction. They're just being led that way. They're not going to be around, folks, when all this really, really goes down. All you big TV preachers, they've already been promised these big, fine places out on the beaches and stuff, and a place to retire when they get through deceiving you guys the way they are. They've been promised this, they've been promised that. John Hagee, he makes, I think it's like $1.5 million a year just preaching. Folks, you're not going to make that kind of money in the devil's matrix. If you're really a true believer in Christ, you're going to be like old Jerry right here, buddy. Sometimes even having to eat out of garbage cans to live. I don't know of any true prophets of the Lord or anyone who truly followed the Lord, folks, that ever did real good. I mean, King David, he did, but I mean, folks, King David stayed at war. I mean, he stayed at war the whole time. And so in this devil's matrix, guys, if you see somebody making millions of dollars, there has to be a problem. And all this Christian rock and all this New Age rock stuff, it's a pile of garbage, folks. All these new Bibles they've come out with are not the authorized version. You only have one authorized version of King Arthur, and that's King James Version Bible. So, it's not just about necessarily what these preachers necessarily what these pharaohs are doing. I mean, they're doing what they're doing. I told you the truth on that. But they've been a lot of places, a lot of areas in politics and news media, and they've just taken over everything, guys. They've taken over people's minds. People's minds are broken. The minute somebody starts talking about politics and whether it's a Democrat or a Republican, or is Trump going to do this or is Biden going to do that, and they really believe that whole construct of illusion exists and they're continuing to talk about it like it's reality, they're out of touch. Their minds broke, folks. This whole place is being ran by Her Majesty's lodges. It's the truth, guys. There's one in every town. The people who are running the town and the cities and the politics, they're top members in it, in every one of them, and it's secretive stuff. But nobody ever believes it, folks, because they don't actually see it. That's the thing, you see. The devil, the greatest trick that he ever pulled is convincing the world he just don't exist. It's the truth. But none of these preachers are any good on TV, folks. None of them are. I don't listen to any of them because Luciferians that runs these television networks are not going to allow someone to get on there and tell you the whole truth about this stuff. They're very, very slick at what they do, guys. And you'll walk away feeling good about this or feeling good about that, but it's all a mask. It's all an illusion. I mean, people, they don't want to feel conviction in their life. And I sometimes, man, I convict myself. What could I do better for you, Lord? I know I'm not perfect. Don't ever think, guys, that you have ascended like a god and you need to be as gods. Thank Him for every single thing, because we're not engineered to be as gods. We're not engineered to go our own way and not need Him in our decisions. It just doesn't work that way. You need to be His little child and come to Him in a humble fashion. Do like I do, guys. I walk on a one-on-one personal relationship with Jesus Christ, and I take no counsel from nowhere else. I don't. I take absolutely no counsel. Now, I will take what others say into consideration, and maybe if I like the pastor, I may take the sermon into consideration. If it's Brother Joseph Skinner, I'll take it into consideration. Now, one thing that Brother Joseph thinks, though, that I just definitely don't agree with, he thinks that the English royal crown is just another family. I've heard him say that, and guys, that's... No, it's far from that. These pharaohs are absolutely not like us. And that's just the way that it is. They are a totally different breed of people from the seed of Cain. Right along with those who are running the state of Israel. The state of Israel was being ran by the non-primogenitors of Switzerland, folks. The Knights Templars. That's who they are. It's the ones who had no inheritance that founded their own kingdom in Switzerland, and now they're growing beards and proclaiming to be God's people, but they're not. Revelation 2:9 will tell you that. But you're not going to hear any of these other preachers tell you that stuff. They don't know the origin of the Balfour Agreement. They don't know the origin of what was given to Lord Jacob Rothschild. And folks, to sit back and listen to some of John Todd's videos, I mean, the devil literally visits the Rothschild castle. And he's the one that runs Israel. I mean, the Council of 13 there is literally visited and consulted by Satan. John Todd has a lot of good stuff, folks. I'll make sure on my playlist this Illuminati and the Major Players of the Game is on there. I think it's put on there by Terron, Terron Poole. I think that's the guy's name, but he has it up. And folks, I'm telling you, that is 8 hours of some very good listening to stuff. It's very, very, very prudent in today's world that we're living in. It's very, very profound stuff, and he told you the truth about a lot of this stuff. I know he mentioned that the Grand Druids and stuff are in Florida and Los Angeles, California. That's the two main places. And that doesn't surprise me, guys, because I know there's a lot of Luciferians in central and southern Florida. I mean, it's just overran by them. Tons of witches. Paisley, Florida, got all kinds of witches in them, folks. And that was where I was ran into the woods, and nobody believes that actually took place between Paisley and Umatilla. But I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do, guys, and I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to come clean with you right now. I know you guys hear me talk about that quite a bit, and me running up on the beast test system in Umatilla, or the woods heading into Umatilla. I'm not exactly going to tell you when, but I am preparing myself right now with the proper video equipment and the proper stuff to equip myself. And I'm going to return to that very place. And I'm going to show you firsthand the occultic imagery that's in those woods and what they're doing. I've made it up in my mind, guys, that I'm either going to get killed or I'm going to walk out there with the necessary proof, one of the two. I do not fear them, folks. So I'm here to tell you right now, I'm returning. It'll be a little while yet. I'm getting the things together to do it. But I'm not going to tell you what month, what week. I'm not going to come on here and make people ready for when I'm coming. But I am. I'm returning. I've already got some GoPro camera equipment ready. I've got everything set up for the live video chat and stuff on my devices. Folks, they come close to getting caught during the satanic panic in California. But they got out of that by the skin of their teeth. What I'm going to show when I go back down there, they're not going to get away with it. I'm going to show you how to catch them red-handed, folks. And it's either going to happen or they're going to kill me, one of the two. Because I have a lot of people telling me, Jerry, I just don't believe what you're saying about down there, and I don't believe that this is true and that's true, and you're just trying to make, draw attention to yourself, and it's not at all true, guys. So I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, folks. I've already talked it over with the Lord. We're returning. We are returning. And so I'm preparing myself physically, equipment-wise, and spiritually. I'm getting myself geared up for it. And like I said, it's going to be a little while. But stay tuned. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys. You stay subscribed. And I'm not saying that, guys, to try to get more subscribers or this or that. Listen, I've made hundreds of videos, guys, and I've never seen a penny from YouTube. I've never had more than 80 subscribers. And some of the videos I've had have been very, very good videos. Just like that, the carpet story of the Liber Oz that I had on that one of Aleister Crowley. I actually caught demons, folks, on camera, on these videos and stuff. I actually caught them. It's like the second video on my other YouTube channel that has the big icon on it of the blue belt. I mean, I literally caught them with camera footage. It should have went viral on YouTube. And instead of that, nobody sees my videos. And nobody's going to see my videos either, except for just a select few of you. But I've come to the conclusion of one thing. I want it that way. I don't want to get big with this, folks. I want a small crowd. I love my girls that watches me. Regina and Chrissy and Mrs. K and Heather. I like my girls that watches me, and as long as my girls are watching me, I don't care. But I'm going to return to the very place that I went through all that tribulation. And Bob told me the other day, he said, I thought that just went on, Jerry, when you was there, and it's not there now. Oh, it's there. It's in place. It stays there. There's a lot of things that's going on there, folks, and a lot of things being tested out that I'm telling you right now, you would literally poo-poo in your pants if you knew, and you could see some of it and hear some of it. It is really bad. And I'm returning. And I'm going to put what my findings are there, I'm going to put it on my channel. You'll get to see it firsthand. If I don't make it out of there, I got somebody else that's going to show what I was able to get before they took me out. I don't fear them, folks. I have tried to tell you guys before, and I'm going to tell you now. All that matters to me at this point in time is I finish my race with joy, like Paul. To finish my race with joy in the Lord. There's nothing better that I would love, folks, than to be able to stand before Him one day and say, Lord, in service to you and in service to your people, I died. It would be a good thing to say. And that it doesn't bother me, folks, to think about it. I'll either make it out alive and come out of there with the goods, or they'll do me in before I get out of there. One of the two, folks. But I have already talked it over with the Lord. I'm going back. And I'm going to go prepared. Especially with the proper camera equipment and stuff to prove. You're even going to get to see the tree of the dead that's in those woods. It has the big pool of water at the base of it. And it's in there too. Kind of looks like the tree that swallowed up the horseman in the end of the movie Sleepy Hollow that Johnny Depp was in. That's what it looks like, guys. And back in behind it is kind of like a cave-like. Yeah. It's really profound. Some of the stuff that's in those woods, folks, it's going to make the Blair Witch Project look like a candy cane. And I'm either going to walk out of there with the goods, or I won't make it, one of the two. So stay tuned, and I love every one of you. Be vigilant, be savvy, stay sober, folks. For if you don't, your adversary, Satan, as a roaring lion, will gobble you alive. That's one thing I always remember when it comes down to my sobriety. Back some years ago, folks, I was a pain pill addict. And I will not do that kind of thing in the days that we live in. I won't even think about getting high of no kind, guys. Don't do it. The position that I'm in, if I did that and slipped up and did that, it would be the end of me. Satan would destroy me. If I let my guard down, folks, he would destroy me. He wants me dead anyway. Satan wants me gone, folks. I have seen it firsthand for myself. He wants me gone. Because I have too much knowledge of the things that he's doing, and I have too much knowledge of what he has done in his deceptions. And he doesn't like that. He wants controlled slaves whose mind are broken. He don't want you free of this matrix, folks. And me, I'm free of the politics, the matrix, the music industry. I know what it is. The entertainment industry, I know who they are. All these false preachers, I know who they are. It's the matrix construct of the New World Order, folks. They've taken everything over. And I'm going to sit here and just tell you, I realize it. It's being ran by Satan, and it's everywhere. It's going to get so bad eventually, guys, that the only place left to run is under his cloak. And it's about got that way with me right now. So the way that I look at it is, folks, my butt is already on the line. The only question is, what am I going to do about it? Well, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do about it. I'm going to return. I will entertain the idea of somebody going with me if somebody has the guts to do it. I'm serious. I'll even finance the whole thing for you to go with me. I told Bob that he could. I believe he said he'd pass. And I don't blame him. I don't expect anybody to do that. But if you did want to do it, I will finance it. The whole way. I mean, it would be up to anyone who would want to go. But thank you for watching my video, and I'll keep you informed, okay?